Hello, Braden Herrington here with a special show. Yes, this is Up Next. Yes, we can be your NXT friends and your Dynamates and all that, but we do other things here on this show, and that's talk about movies and TV shows and pop culture. Well, a movie came out this week that I once upon a time ago said I would review if this movie is in fact real. And well, I promised this man that we would do this together, and that is why I'm joined by a friend of the show, Mr. Host of Shot in the Dark and Turning Heels, my friend and yours, Mr. John Siino. Hello, good sir.
Hey, que se dice, Goots? Your resident Tony Angelo here.
Hey,
If you would have got anybody else to do this show except me, I would have been deeply offended, and I would have made sure that you would have had a horse's head in your bed, and you would have slept with the fishes in somewhere in the waters of Toronto.
I could not do a Soprano show and not have on someone who is, I'm sorry, 99% Sicilian.
Yes. We updated it, not 100% anymore, 99%. Yes.
Well, that's close enough. Yes, during the pandemic, The Sopranos was my pandemic show. We all had that one thing we never watched or did while stuck inside. So I got HBO. We don't have HBO Max up here. We got Crave, which is like the Canadian version or whatever. So they added The Sopranos. So I decided to do the whole show, and I was messaging you back and forth, and I mentioned it on some shows as well that I was watching it, and then you told me that they were making a movie, like kind of after the fact, like a prequel with some different actors and stuff. So I was like, oh, that sounds cool. And then it like got made, and then they pushed it back a bunch, but now here we are. So obviously you're a big fan of The Sopranos because you're FBI, you're full-blooded.
Yes. I'm full-blooded Italian. When I grew up, you have to understand, like in my household, when it was like Christmas time, we didn't sit around and watch like, It's a Wonderful Life. We watched The Godfather. That was like, I swear to God, every holiday, Easter, Thanksgiving, it's either The Godfather 1 or Godfather 2 or Goodfellas. That's all we watched. So when this show came out in 99, I was 14 years old. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And we literally made it like a weekly event. Me, my brothers, my cousins, my friends, we'd watch this religiously every single week. This is before DVR. I'm showing my age here. We watched this live on HBO. And up until 2007, when I was 22, like I literally grew up watching this show. And the finale was like an event. It was like a Super Bowl party. We came over, we had people, we had drinks, we had everything. And that finale, we can talk about that at some point, but that was, oh my God, the way it ended. It left us wanting more, and we finally did get more years later. Maybe not what we expected, but we did get something.
Yeah. We're going to go through it. I mean, first of all, Sopranos family viewing just sounds like a great family show for all the kids, everyone. Well, I can see, I'm not Italian, but I'm Portuguese, half Portuguese, and my super Portuguese side of the family, I definitely relate during different things throughout the show. What is it? Waste management and the docks and things like that. Pork chops can get up to no good too. They like trouble too, but nowhere near as fun because you guys got ziti. So, I mean, you got gabagool. What is the gabagool?
Just to hear people talk like the same way that I would hear my family and my parents and my uncles, like we literally talk just like this, not to the extent, but right. Like a lot of the words that they would say like would be things that I would never hear outside of my house. So to hear it like nationally broadcast on TV, and now we're at an age where like Sopranos is getting memed all the time, and people are saying things they have no idea what they're even saying, but I know these terms. Like I grew up with these terms, so it's cool to see like it kind of be like established in a popularity like that everybody knows now.
It's totally this huge pop culture. The reason I would remember it would be on TV reruns on TV on different other channels, but I never could just jump in because I really wouldn't know what was going on. So a lot of my friends would be like, "Oh man, you're sleeping on The Sopranos. Definitely got to watch it." So again, it took me a long time, and then finally, when I jumped in, like, yeah, definitely got it. Obviously, this is a spoiler-heavy show. I would imagine anyone who watches the Many Saints of Newark has watched The Sopranos, or you might A, not know what's going on, or B, just be like, wait, well, it's spoiled.
They spoil it for you within the first 5 minutes. They spoil pretty much all the major things that happen.
Yeah. So again, spoilers here, or maybe you don't care, or maybe you are a Soprano super fan and that's why you're listening to this. But thanks. But yeah, Siino, you saying all these like catchphrases and things, because like, hey, oh, that's obviously a thing that they do throughout the show and the movie here. We see where Tony picks it up. What are some of these other things? Now, don't get me in trouble here. I want to be able to say some of these things. Like we've heard it in wrestling. Fugazi. You're a fugazi.
Fugazi, that's somebody who's fake, somebody who's who's not being real. It's funny because a lot of the terms that I would hear growing up, I didn't even know what they truly meant till I watched this show. For example, I'm not going to say any names, get anybody in trouble, but the word goma, when they would say that, to me growing up, that was always like comadre, which is like a godmother or like a friend of the family. I didn't realize till this show that goma is pretty much your side chick, your mistress. So I had a lot of uncles that had gomas. I didn't know who they were till years later. So now, like, if you think back about it, like, oh my God, you know, Maria wasn't a family friend. She wasn't my godmother. She was the girl on the side. So yeah, that's one term.
Uncle Siino getting into some trouble back in the day.
Oh my God. Yeah. So like so many terms they would say, a lot of things they would say like gagoots, like a lot of things would be like food oriented, like things like eggplant, squash, like just like terms that zucchini, like things like that they would use as like nicknames. Some were very offensive, some were not. Unfortunately, growing up, I did hear a lot of offensive things. It didn't register for me like when you're a kid. Like I know a lot of people didn't mean like harm by the things that they would say. It's just like the way that they were raised in a way. And it's unfortunate now. And fortunately for me, like my dad wasn't like that. So he didn't really like say that, but I would hear it from like uncles or relatives and things like that. It wouldn't register to years later. I was like, that's some really fucked up shit that they would say. Yeah. And we saw a lot of this in the show. Obviously, there's a lot of like racial tensions growing up, being Italian and kind of warring with other races and factions. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality of it. And this really like went into the roots of why they might have said certain things on The Sopranos and why they felt certain ways. We actually pretty much find out the gist of it by watching this prequel.
That is true. This movie definitely kind of there's an argument today where you could watch this movie and go, wow, they made The Sopranos woke. They made Candyman woke. You know what I mean? Like you could argue that they're doing that. They're Joe Gacying everything. No, but like this movie, actually, if you've watched the show, there is certain things. Again, it is a fake. It's a show. So of course, whenever Tony ever said things, you either laugh because he was saying something that was funny or lighthearted or like feeling with him, or there's times when you're like, wow, you are a piece of shit and I shouldn't like you. I got a lot of friends on The Sopranos after I kind of finished it during the pandemic. I was like, oh, if you got Crave, like, fuck, if you never watched it, watch it. And a few of my friends would message me and be like, man, this guy's an asshole. And then like the next day be like, wow, Christopher's an asshole. Well, I think the only person on the show completely still not innocent, but Silvio seems to be the true like like he sees it, he sees all. He gives you the truth. He's honest. I don't know.
He's like the mediator in a way. He's like the guy that kind of always has reasoning. You're right. I mean, he obviously isn't a saint himself.
I mean, shout out Steve Van Zandt. But the boss, the guitar player? I forget. Yeah,
guitar player for Bruce. Yeah. But like Sopranos came out at a time where like nobody really questioned it. If you try to do Sopranos now, it would not fly at all.
Right.
And like you said, like this movie did kind of wake it in a way because I'll say it straight up. Like one of the main characters was a black actor, and that didn't fly at all in the original show. Like that wouldn't even be like something that you would even think of, and they totally did it in this movie. They did it really in a great way. But like the way when it came out, it was like not, I want to say perfect timing because there was a lot of things that wouldn't fly today. But it came out at a time where people didn't really question it, and I would feel bad for somebody watching it now, hearing all the hype of the movie and trying to watch it and not really connecting with it because there's a lot of offensive things that they did. But it's based on a life that is very offensive. I mean, this is people that kill for a living. So it's like, don't expect them to be like guardian
nice
angels.
people. Yeah. Because everyone on the show, so like even Carmela in a way ends up doing things. You're like, okay, like what? She's probably the most innocent. She got like the short end of the stick, but she's reaping all the benefits. She's, so there is like, it's the same with Breaking Bad, right? People always compare Walter White and Skyler, and it's like, yeah, well, I genuinely just did not like Skyler. Carmela has the likability factor for me. I love watching the show, and obviously a lot of the actors are no longer like in this movie because like it's supposed to be a prequel and stuff. But other than like obviously Tony, what are some of your characters that stick with you, or certain parts, or just anything specific? Because just before this, I was like, oh, I got to quickly put on like a best of kind of video or something on YouTube to kind of get me. And a lot of it was Paulie, and Paulie to me is like, man, he has the Paulie promo on Snakes is a 5-star promo, pipe bomb promo on Snakes. Love that stuff.
To me, it was always Christopher. Like, he always made me laugh because Christopher reminded me of like my brothers and my cousins all merge into one, with like the way that he would say things and the way he would mess things up. Like the one episode where he's like trying to pitch a show and he's like, it's just like Law and Order, SUV, like it's SVU, but obviously he didn't say it right. But like things like that would happen all the time. And just like his characteristic and like just being off the hedge and everything. I loved him. I love Paulie Walnuts, obviously, Silvio. Furio doesn't get enough love. He was the guy that kind of like came in and messed things up with Carmela. Then he disappeared and went back to the mountains of Sicily. Seen again.
Like one of the best moments I thought was when Furio, he's with Tony and there's a propeller, right?
Okay, yes.
And Furio's just like he's thinking about something. And you're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? And then that's when he like decides to disappear. And like, that actor isn't in that many movies. He should be in a lot more. He's Furio.
Yeah. To me, whenever I watched that, I always thought like this guy's not an actor. This guy's like an actual like mafioso that they brought in, and that has been done a lot. If you go back and watch like Goodfellas and Godfather, a lot of those guys aren't actors. They're legit guys that have connections that they used. Junior always like, even though he was an asshole, I always thought Junior was entertaining.
Hate him. X-Pac heat on Junior.
This movie had like really like Batman Begins I guess shades for characters like Junior, like find out how they became like supervillains in a way. But yeah, he was a character that kind of always made me laugh. But everybody from the show like just always stood out to me. There wasn't like any character that I could say like I hated on the show. Yeah,
like Christopher and Paulie were definitely my favorite, and that's why I definitely love the episode where they're together. And was the Barons something?
Yeah, that's like one of the best episodes.
Yeah, that's clearly one of the interior decorator. That's one of the best episodes. But there's also like the movie premiere when he finally gets his movie made and like it's shit, but like everyone's like, fuck it, you did it anyways. I also love when they go to, is it Italy? When they like pretty much pick up Furio.
Yep.
When Chris goes off the bin, like off the end and gets into the drugs and stuff. Christopher was one you could like feel for as well. Definitely one of my favorites. And that actor, I know he's got a podcast doing the Soprano stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because you said that during the pandemic, you went ahead and watched it. I was trying to do that because there's actual podcast there with Michael Imperioli, who plays Christopher, and the actor that plays Bobby Bacala. Both of them doing a podcast together, and they're still doing it. I just checked it. They're up to like episode 80 at this point. So I did kind of want to revisit the show and kind of like listen to it as a companion piece, especially after watching this movie. My first thought was I need to go back and watch the show now because not that it's a bad taste in my mouth, but it made me want to like kind of like watch the show and kind of pick up anything that I might not have picked up the first time just by like having some information from the show.
Yeah, that's why I'm definitely just like, hey, what did you like from the show, Siino? Because I watching some things and kind of remembering things, and then watching the movie and trying to be like, oh man, like the Pussy, the character Pussy. When they figure shit out and they take him out on the boats to go sleep with the fishes. That episode is pretty awesome. There's definitely a lot of them that I would watch, like, even if I don't go back and rewatch the whole show, because it is quite a long show, but there's certain episodes that I definitely would go and put on because I feel with. And not that this movie didn't necessarily like feel so much like Sopranos, but I can see why people might not like this movie as much as maybe they were hoping to be. But at the same time, it's like, what were you expecting? Because none of these actors are in.
Well, James Gandolfini passed away, unfortunately. So you could never do a proper sequel to this or a second part or whatever. So what else can you do but a prequel? Now, what I do want them to do is what I think they set up at this end of this movie, which is the story of Tony Soprano, which this is just like a teaser of it. And now it didn't hit me till like the movie started, where I'm like, oh my God, it makes perfect sense. But the title Many Saints literally translates to Moltisanti.
Yeah.
The last name. So it hit me like when we hear like the narration from Christopher, I'm like, oh my God, this is not a Tony Soprano movie. This is a Moltisanti movie based on Dickie, which is like this character that we'd always hear about on the show, but we never saw him whatsoever, the father of Christopher. But it's really important because this is the person that basically made Tony Soprano. So you kind of have to tell this story first before you go into it. To me, I compare it to kind of like a Joker Batman scenario where you have a Joker movie and you need Joker in order to set up Batman. So in a way, you need a Dickie Moltisanti in order to set up Tony Soprano. So if they continue this, and the kid that plays him is his son, he's 22 years old. He's literally the perfect age to actually tell a Sopranos movie or even a show. I personally would have preferred this would have been a show because you could have started the first season about the Dickie stuff and then transition into the Tony Soprano stuff. Because this is stuff we want to see. We want to see Tony meeting with Paulie and Silvio and running, making his way through the ranks. That's the story that people want. But I feel like this story, even though it might not have been taken well, we needed this first before we could tell the Tony story proper.
Yeah, no, that's very fair because it definitely makes me go, okay, well, wait, because I want to see Tony. And yeah, half this movie is like set, and I think in 1967, and then it goes forward a few years. And that is when you see more of Tony, not just as like a little kid, when you actually see Gandolfini's actual son playing Tony,
Michael,
which is, what's his name? Michael?
Michael Gandolfini. Yeah, he looks just like his dad. It's crazy.
Wow. Right off the bat, like before jumping into this is like, yeah, he was probably one of my favorite parts about this. This kid must have watched The Sopranos back before doing this movie because I know it's your dad.
Yeah, he said he never saw it till he got this movie role.
Yeah,
he never saw the show, so he went back and watched every episode.
He had to have right before filming this, or people had to tell him certain things he was doing with his like face and his reactions that yes, only his actual father was doing on this show. And it's just right off the bat, this kid amazing. He could go down like, remember Ice Cube's kid? He did NWA. He's done some other things, and I know he's got some things on the way, but he kind of was chilling for a while. He wasn't doing too much. I'm a huge fan of it. I thought he nailed it as Ice Cube, but how weird of it when you're playing your dad who's super famous. And then it's kind of the same thing here, but you're playing your dad who's known for Tony Soprano. So just what a amazing thing to be able to do in his like honor and everything. But the kid was great, but he's unfortunately only halfway through this. So what you're saying is they should take this kid, this actor, and let him run with it. Cause he was probably the good parts of this that I really liked. And he's really young still, but the Many Saints of Newark, Moltisanti. So this already feels like this classic mob movie. I've said many times on some podcasts that I genuinely think Goodfellas is a perfect movie. Like I think, it's a mob movie. I know Godfather is great. I've never seen part 2 yet. I know, I'm sorry, I should not be doing this podcast, but Goodfellas to me is like one of my all-time favorites. I got a Hill signed Blu-ray. I'm all in it. And I'm just so happy to learn that Ray Liotta is in this movie because of course you just got to put him in this movie.
And what's better than Ray Liotta? 2 Ray Liotta.
Yeah. That is right. That's right. That is true. Is he also in that B movie? This is weird. He's made some weird choices.
The B, like the Jerry Seinfeld B movie?
Yeah, I think isn't he?
Probably, yeah. Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. So the Many Saints of Newark, we go to this funeral. It's Newark, which I've been to. I've been to Newark. I know everything about there. I went to the airport. It was great.
It was the home of Dynamite just the week before Arthur Ashe.
Newark, that's right. Yep. True. Yeah. Newark. Yeah. The Many Saints. Why didn't they do any tie-ins? That was totally money on the table there.
Yeah, I guess they could. I mean, Arn Anderson, hinting at it, you never know.
Yeah. Arn Anderson with the Glock is more scarier than Tony Soprano with the ducks. We get a funeral, 1967, Newark. And we meet some of the family, the crew, the squad. We hear the voice of one Christopher Moltisanti. And this is kind of scary because he's talking to us from beyond the grave.
Yep.
As if the character, because he explains all the things that happened to him. And I already gave you the spoiler warnings, but Tony kills Christopher in the show, and just him kind of saying these one-liners in between this of like how this happened is kind of eerie. It's like you wouldn't know that have happened and stuff. So what did you feel about that kind of setting the pace?
Yeah, you mentioned Goodfellas and Ray Liotta. It definitely gave me those type of vibes of like narration. Like, this is my story. I'm gonna tell you what happened. I didn't know at all that, because going into this, I tried to like not read anything into it. I just want to kind of go into it fresh. I saw the trailer and everything, but I didn't really know anything else beyond that. So I didn't know Michael Imperioli was involved with this whatsoever. I'm like, oh, wow, it's his voice. Like, that's awesome. But yeah, it was really eerie to hear him. But then like once I saw like his gravestone with his name on it, that's when it clicked on me. Like Moltisanti, Many Saints. I get it. It makes perfect sense for him to narrate this because this is about his dad and his rise up. So just to hear his voice was great because that's one of the best voices on Sopranos. So that was already like a good note for me. Like, oh, this is great. But it's sad at the way it's like, oh my God, like, yeah, he did die. Like, we're never going to see him ever again, but let's find out like who.
Also, yeah, it's like, here's a whole movie about how their best friend, how Tony's best friends with his dad, but he's going to end up killing this kid. It's like, what?
Yeah. It's so hilarious. The first scene we see like a little Tony Soprano running around. He's like, I see that little chubby fat kid. Yeah, he choked me.
Yeah, he kills me and murders me in a very dramatic fashion in the show, which still pisses me off. That's definitely when I turned on Tony, and it took a long time.
Yeah,
like last season, but
that was very sad. Very sad.
Well, we meet kind of the crew here, and there's obviously Tony Soprano is a little kid at this point. So yeah, he's just this little chubby kid. But we see Dickie Moltisanti, played by Alessandro Nivola, which I'm not too familiar with. I've recognized him in a few movies. I want to say he is the like weirdo side brother in Face Off.
I think you're right. Yeah,
he's like the scientist guy in the movie Face Off with Nicolas Cage. Yeah, that movie. This guy kind of comes out of nowhere for me, but I genuinely think I thought he did a good job. He pulls off the scary when you need to be thing, which some comedian of like trying to do comedy on one scenes and then some of the other can be really hard. But I thought he nailed the serious, scary stuff for sure. But yeah, he is the brother in Face Off. That's really weird. Well, there's also Johnny Soprano, who we've heard a lot about in the Soprano show, played by John Bernthal. Mm-hmm. I know him from Walking Dead, Punisher, obviously. Punisher. I absolutely love him in Wolf of Wall Street. He's pretty much playing the same character here. But yeah, Tony Soprano's dad is played by the Punisher. So that's pretty cool. We get some of the other ones. We got Ray Liotta, who's Hollywood Dick Moltisanti. We'll learn that he plays another character later in the movie. But we get the crew, and it's Hollywood Dick, who went back to the old country, but he came back now with
Miss Provolone, 1967. As his son Dickie said, he's like, some people come back from the old country of like a disease or the gout or something. You come back with Miss Provolone 1967.
Oh my God.
Which I mean, and this is something that it happens. People go back to the old country. They find somebody who's very gullible or living in a very poverty stricken town, and they want they go to America. They want to go to America, and Giuseppina definitely went ahead.
Giuseppina. Yeah, Michela de Rossi, one of her first roles, apparently. And again, you know what? Someone I wasn't familiar with, but I could see her going on to a lot of big things after this movie. I thought she did a great job as well. Great casting. She's like just this like super, was it fresh off the boat of Italy?
Yeah.
Good looking model.
You said you didn't see The Godfather Part 2. The character on there, when Michael Corleone goes back to Sicily, he finds a girl there, Apollonia, I think is her name, and he brings her back to the States. Almost the same exact thing. And she really gave me like very similar vibes to that, as like this this person, this immigrant from a different country that doesn't know anything, and she just kind of is so eyes wide open on America and so happy about everything. And that's exactly like I think the type of role that she was playing here.
Yeah, she's great. So she doesn't speak very much English, and Ray Liotta just brought her back because he wants this young hot wife and he wants to have more kids, therefore making Giuseppina Dickie's new stepmom if they were to get married, which he finds a little odd. But Dickie wants, in the back of his mind, he wants to have a son of his own, but unfortunately his wife and him she can't have kids. So he still is like, oh man, my own dad's gonna have another kid before I can have a kid. Like it's in his brain there.
And it's funny because this is like the first like callback to the show in a way, because I know Christopher had the same issue with his girlfriend,
right? That's
where she couldn't have kids either. Remember, what are you, damaged goods? And he went off on her about that whole thing, and he obviously wasn't happy about it. I feel like this could have been something that he knew from his father having the same issue, or his mother having the same issue, that maybe kind of carried on to him. So, now it makes more sense why he probably took so upset about the situation.
Yeah, shout out Adriana.
Yes, shout out Adriana for sure.
Yeah. So we see Ray Liotta, Dickie Malsanti. He's waiting for Giuseppe's outside of her English class, and she gets in the car, and he's like, "What did you learn today?" "This is his bowl. This is my bowl." And he's like, "What the fuck?"
He's like, "This just a waste of money right here, isn't it?"
I fucking laughed out loud. So we see some of the crew here, and it's weird because there's a lot of people like from the show. Like there's Junior is one of these guys played by Corey Stoll. I'm not familiar, but he's playing Junior Soprano, who's a lot older in the show and very how you say cunty. I would say. And the character in this definitely tries to nail that. We also get a young Paulie Walnuts.
Yep.
Who this guy did a pretty fun job, especially a bit later on. A few of the scenes got me laughing. I was like, that's definitely supposed to be Paulie. It reminded me of that Wu-Tang show where you're trying to figure out who's who without them telling you yet.
I'll tell you what, though, I know from the get-go who Silvio was, because he had the comb back hair. Yeah. He had the walk, and the everything about him was like Silvio. See, the good and the bad about this show is you had characters like Big Pussy, Silvio, Paulie, who had to they had characters to go by. So in a way, it felt like a parody. Remember, like when on Mad TV, when you had Will Sasso I did
love Will
Gandolfini?
Sasso's. Yeah, I did love that.
That's what it came off as. Unfortunate. It was like, okay, these guys kind of feel like a parody in a way because they're imitating them. So that was a disadvantage of the show. But then you had characters like Dickie and Johnny Soprano, where they didn't really have anybody to copy. It was all original. It was like, you literally, this is who you are. You make the character how you want. So those characters to me fit better. So I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy like Silvio and Paulie and all them, because I love the original characters, but it did feel a little bit of a parody in a way.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And they're also supposed to be a lot younger, but it's like, yeah, it's definitely there. And there was little jokes. There was something with a toupee, and there's little jokes.
If you go throughout the show, because obviously on the real show, he has this toupee that he always does. Don't touch the hair. But on this movie, you see him kind of like go through the different stages of it. He has a comb back hair, then he has like different type of toupees. And then at one point the toupee flies off. You literally see him go through the stages until he gets like the final hair, the right one in the actual show. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out mine too. The right comb over. I gotta get the Arn Anderson comb over. Well, we see times are wild in the 60s. There's supposed to be the summer of love, but it ain't that way. There's a hit taken out on one of these kids with a shotgun. We get a shotty here early on. So they definitely deliver on the classic Sopranos violence pretty early with this. They kind of wake me up with, oh, okay, yeah, this is a movie about people doing bad things because this kid eats it. We see that there's now these riots in the streets. So there's things going on, of course, with the battle of the races in the 1960s here. And well, it's kind of turning into these riots. So that's where they definitely weave this story into this, which again, I think actually does make a lot of sense and makes it feel like it is real as well. The show used to do that, but it's Dickie who gets kind of caught in the riots at one point, and he's a little shook by this, but it's kind of just showing you and setting the scene early here. Because one of the guys that works for Dickie is Harold, who's played by Leslie Odom Jr. And he's like somebody that he knew, like they went to school together. I think they played football together. So it's somebody who he trusts and everything. But obviously with the riots going on, where it's kind of like you have to take sides in a way with the whole racial tensions. So it gets to the point where like Harold is kind of like against the Soprano family in a way. But it's just somebody who actually was pretty close to Dickie. But you can see by like Dickie is really close to him, but you could tell like the people in his family don't want anything to do with him, obviously, because of his race, unfortunately. Yeah. There still is like this tension and stuff. And of course, Italians, and they're not nice people, especially if they're in the like power situations and violence and all this stuff. But we see a lot of violence kind of early on in the world that they live in. We see
like a fair or a carnival that we've definitely seen mentioned throughout the show. So it's kind of like a different take on this story that we've seen or heard from Tony, where Tony shows up and sees his family members being arrested. More importantly, his father and someone in the family getting shot down by police officers. So this kind of sticks in his head. And I'm pretty sure he brings up to his therapist throughout the show. But we kind of see this
story.
Yeah, him kind of like, kind of shocks him as the first time he's seeing this kind of serious side to what his family might be into.
And that place, that amusement park, is actually Playland in Rye, New York, which is like 15 minutes away from me. It's actually where you watch the movie Big with Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
it's the same one. And also the Mariah Carey fantasy video where she's on the roller coaster. It's also Playland. So Playland's very close to me. So the second I saw it, I recognized the white and green colors right about. It's Playland. Yeah. And actually, a lot of spots here. One of the streets here is where Frank used to live, Fire Frank, in Yonkers. So they definitely filmed a lot of this locally.
Okay, damn, yeah, I could see that because Sopranos would do a lot of local stuff as well. But yeah, wow. We see Jessipina. She's chilling out the shower, and Mr. Multisanti, Ray Liotta, he doesn't like when she, and I quote, leaves your douche bag hanging in the shower. So he gets really upset because he says, how many times do I have to tell you this? And she says, it's just like a natural thing. People use showers to clean. What's the big deal? So he beats her up and throws her down some stairs.
Now, quick question, because you might remember this more than I have because you saw the show more recently than me. But this character, Giuseppina, was brought up on the show, right? I feel like at some point she was a character that was spoken about. Like I feel like Christopher talked about her, or somebody talked about her, and the way that she was mistreated in a way.
Right. I mean, well, then because it does go into that it's Christopher's mom, right? So
no, that's not Christopher's mom.
No, this isn't Christopher's mom.
No, the actual Joanne is the mom, but she was just a mistress on the side. She never actually had Christopher, but I feel like she was a character that was brought up on the show, the original show, as somebody who was mistreated.
I thought Jessipina eventually becomes the mother of Christopher. No, the mom eventually does have kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you see at the party when they introduce Christopher that the mom is holding her.
Right. Okay. It was confusing because the character who plays the mom does kind of look similar to Jessipina.
Yeah, Hollywood Dick has a type, or Dickie has a type.
Yeah, apparently. Jessipina gets beat up and thrown down some stairs, and she's kind of hiding the bruises with glasses the next day. And that's when Dickie, the son of Hollywood Dick, notices this and kind of confronts her about it. And well, she tries to kiss him. And he's like, hey, whoa.
What are you doing?
If he sees us.
My wife's in there. She's making the ziti.
So he feels a little like upset by all this. So Dickie confronts his dad, Dick, about, hey, you threw her down some stairs. How hard did she bounce? What's the deal? Why the fuck are you doing this? And he's like, don't tell me what to do. I do what I want. Because, Ray Liotta plays a real good mean guy in anything he plays in. And he plays that here. But unfortunately, Dickie doesn't like the way he treats his women. So Dickie beats the shit out of him in the car, smashes his head against the wheel. But he goes a little too far, and the dude is dog food. Dude's head is bashed in, moshed up. And he's like figuring out, like, fuck, I just killed my dad. What am I going to do? Young Tony Soprano bouncing a basketball coming in like, hey, Uncle Dickie, what's going on? Hey, and he's like, get the fuck out of here. Meanwhile, his wife's like, hey, honey, what do you want with the sauce tonight? I don't care about the sauce. Then he's got to drive his body. Yeah.
Right before he killed him, his dad, Hollywood, he did bring up the point. He's like, listen, you had eyes on her the second we got off the boat, basically, which is true. Like, he was eyeing her down. And he said a line like, he's like, oh, if you want, I give you permission to jerk off to her photo. And that's what kind of like drove. And also,
kill him.
And also the fact that Dickie brought up that he did the same stuff to his mom. To a Dickie's mom. So he's like, you did that with mom. I'm not going to let you do this to another lady. So obviously this is stuff that was building up inside Dickie, that he just couldn't see another girl go through the same stuff that his own mom went through that drove him to I don't think he meant to kill him.
No, he didn't. He didn't. But, because then he's like, hey, dad, pop. And then he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, his head is bashed in. So I don't know how you wouldn't have thought that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah. So he's now got his dead dad in the car. So he drives like through these riots with the fucking dead body in the front seat. The army's going by because there's chaos throughout the city here. He eventually goes to this like auto shop, burns his dad with gasoline, lights it on fire. The cool guys don't look at explosion shot where he walks off. Always got to have that in the movie. And he killed his dad. And everyone he set it up like he had an accident at his attaboy repair shop. They made it seem like it was an accident, but he didn't really think it through too much, I don't think. This is when we meet the other Multisanti twin, Ray Liotta, doing double duty tonight as he's playing the brother, who now I'm like, man, what's the name of this guy's?
Sally.
Sally. That's right. Sally. And he's like in jail for murdering some other people, a made man in his own family. And he's pretty much living the mindset, I deserve to be here because you shouldn't be doing that. There's rules in this world we live in with like the mob and stuff. And that's one of the main things. But I did it, so I'm doing the time. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. And Dickie now goes to him, had to tell him that his brother died. But you could already tell Sally here is like, I bet you had something to do with it.
He literally says, he's like, I've known my brother my whole life. And he has like the hands of a baby, basically. He doesn't do any like hard labor at all. And you're telling me that he went to his shop to work? Like that doesn't add up at all. And right before this scene, there was a pretty funny scene where it was the funeral of Hollywood Dick. And like, they're all paying their respects, but like in the background, you have like Silvio and Paulie. They decided to put the game
TV
on the TV
on
or something because they got a free TV or something. So they put the TV on, and Dickie goes in and he goes, the disrespect in here, and he kicks over the TV and he just goes off on them. Like that stuff like that reminds me of Christopher, because Christopher would go on his rages and destroy stuff, like the episode with where they're trying to work on the music, whatever. And he just takes a guitar and smacks over the guy's back. So rage definitely runs in the Moltisanti family.
Yeah. I think every family, because also Tony's watching this. The door had been crept open, and young Tony is kind of like watching this.
The whole movie, Tony is like kind of peeking in and hearing things. So you kind of get the idea that he's learning all these things that he's not supposed to.
Well, it's Sally who tells Dickie like, "Hey, next time you want to come by and chat, bring me a jazz record." So he's like, "Yeah, all right, cool."
Miles Davis, yep.
Yeah, I mean, Miles Davis is, he's the coolest. We get young Tony, who gets suspended. He's doing a lot of bad things in school. What's he doing? Like gambling rings?
Yeah, he's gambling. They're making a bet trying to see how many people don't show up to school today. And as the kids are coming into the school, he's like taking bets. And like this one kid's like, a number 16 is my favorite baseball player's number or whatever. So the kid, as they're like going through the rehearsals in the morning, like they're going over the loudspeaker and the person's like, oh, there's 16 people that are missing from school. And the kid goes up, he's like, 16, I got the number. And you see the teacher like, what are you kids up to? And that's when Tony Soprano got busted for running the numbers.
Yeah, of course. Early on, even he's doing this. So they get Uncle Dickie to talk to him. And again, hey, because watching the show, Tony Soprano, James Gandolfini, he does this a bunch. So does Silvio. So does Christopher. So does Paulie. Like the main crew in the show go, hey, like a million times. And this is clearly them being like, look, this Dickie uncle to Tony does it so much that that's why they all do it. So I couldn't even get through him doing this like pep talk to him, because I'm pretty much, he's just like, hey Tony, hey, stop doing the bad things. Dickie brings an album to Sally, but it's not quite the album. It's some trumpet album. He said, this isn't jazz, take it back. And this is when Dickie kind of says that he wants a son, and that one day hopefully he can have a son. And Sal here, Ray Liotta, dropping some knowledge. We could all take some life lessons here, that you wanted something, and wanting leads to pain. So he's a little bit of a Yoda here, this Ray Liotta.
Yeah, this twin brother is like the total opposite of what Hollywood Dick was. Hollywood Dick is just straight, don't give a fuck attitude. While Sally's more like, he's obviously been through some shit. They said he's been in jail because he killed somebody else that was a made man, basically. But they didn't really go into details on why. But you made it seem like Sally was like Not good, obviously, but he definitely had better intentions than his brother did.
And we get Dickie also gives Tony some money just because he's like, here you go. Give you some trick. We get the return. It's now going to go like 4 years later, where Johnny Soprano, John Berthal, is going to be released from prison here, and he comes home, and it's a big celebration. It definitely doing the whole Tony Soprano Carmela thing with Tony and his mom. Tony's mom, by the way, is just as awful in the show. I hate Tony's mom in the show.
Oh yeah,
and I think
the actress here,
yeah, she's great.
She was perfect. She says some of the same lines where she's like, "Oh, poor you," and does like the little hand signals. The mom would do that stuff. She literally must have studied to the T. Really quick, when they transitioned to like fast forward to when Tony Soprano was older, there's like a narration from Christopher, and I mentioned earlier how Christopher always like messes up things, and I'm pretty sure he said something about Neil Young, like since the stuff that has happened since like the time has passed by, I'm pretty sure he mentioned Neil Young landed on the moon. I think he meant Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, did he like do your classic screw up? Like even in death, beyond death, Christopher Moltisanti is still screwing up words. It's hilarious.
He's like the guy. He's like the broken telephone friend that you got. Like, yo, did you hear about COVID? They say it's giving us mind control things. Wait, are you talking about the vaccines that are? Yeah. The vaccines. They like he's that guy who would like always give you the broken information. Yeah, I thought I was crazy too. I kind of gave a second like, wait, did he say that? Which, it definitely fits the tone of his character through the show. Well, we see Johnny's out of jail. He's having a fight with his old lady. We then start seeing Dickie, not Dickie Bird, but Dickie. He's got a guma, as you mentioned earlier, a side chick, a mistress, which is, of course, Jessipina. He's now hooking up with his dead dad's, who he's murdered, by the way, mistress. So things are getting a little hot and heavy there. We also see Jen. Yeah.
Really quick before I forget, when Johnny returned back from home, they introduced Christopher as a baby. Like he's at this point, he's born, he's a baby, whatever. And the crazy part was they put Christopher in Tony Soprano's arms. And the baby starts crying right away. And like this little old lady, it was like a random old lady that's not even part of the family at these parties, just in the corner dropping knowledge. And she mentioned something about how they see evil things on the other side and they have premonitions. So this is huge foreshadowing to obviously Christopher not be able to trust Tony by crying.
Yeah. Some babies know things from the other side is what this like old lady, because the baby's fine until it gets to Tony and then it just starts to cry. So
and Tony's like, every time I hold this baby, he's crying. He hates me. And it's just like,
well, because you're going to murder him.
Exactly.
Man. We also see Janice, who looks just like Janice would look like. Good job on the casting there as well. And Janice, of course, is just being Janice. I hate Janice too.
This is before she caused the shark in Deep Blue Sea to murder everybody, right?
This is true. Yeah, this is before that happened.
They had the other sister too, which she was barely on the show. I think her name was Barbara, the second sister, but she was running around too. So you see a lot of the characters. They even mentioned like Tony B at one point, which is Steve Buscemi's character. All the little cousins that are running around. Yeah. Like I would have to do a little bit of deep digging, but I feel like these are all central characters that eventually show up on the show.
Yeah, we get Harold, who comes back. He was in North Carolina for a while, and he's gonna like start his own now like crime operation to kind of go up against the Italians. So it's basically like his black-owned business here of the mob, of this crime family that he's secretly like gonna try to take out and run things here, being a saint of Newark. We get Jessipina and Dickie. Like I said, they're hooking up, and he gets her own place, and he's like basically doing all the good fella stuff and hooking her up. And there's mentions that she doesn't just want to be this like housewife. She wants to do stuff. So she's been like, look, if you can buy me an apartment, why don't you like buy me a beauty parlor? I want to run these things. I want to like work. I don't want to just be some side chick who just waits for you. Like, no, I want to work and earn things. That's why I'm here in America. And he's kind of like blowing her off like, you don't need to do that. And plus he's got a wife.
He's like, just give me the sausage. I'm hungry. Come on.
Yeah. Like, give me the food. Jeez. But she's like, you promised me. And he's like, we see a young Tone, him and his friends. Well, they're up to no good. And this is where we see like the Tony we want to see, the played by Gandolfini's son himself. And him and his friends are going to steal an ice cream truck.
Do you know who his friends were?
No, was it?
So one of them's Artie Bucco, because he did mention like his dad wants him to go into the restaurant business. So that was Artie. And the other guy I'm pretty sure was Jackie, who was like at the beginning of the first season has like cancer and he passes away really quick, but he was one of Tony's close friends. So yeah, Jackie and Artie are his buddies here early on.
Yeah, that's crazy. So they steal this. They beat the shit out of this guy. They like kick him out of the truck, steal his truck, and then go sell ice cream in a real bad way. And then
it's funny. Like, it's funny because earlier when he was reading the comic book, like his Dickie's like, oh, why are you reading this shit? Why don't you read like Spider-Man and Superman? And he was reading like Robin Hood instead. You know, take from the rich, give to the poor, which is what he's doing here with the ice cream. Yeah,
he's basically giving these people ice cream and not doing a good job in the twist though. It's all about the flick of the wrist.
It's free. He's giving free ice cream to the kids,
and that's pretty much what he does later in the show. He's Robin Hood. He's given to his family. It was a pretty funny scene with this kid and stuff. We get so obviously Tony's getting in trouble from all these antics he's getting up to. So there's a scene with like parents in the car. I think it's Tony's mom and dad. Johnny's driving, and then Dickie and his wife in the back. Yep. And they're talking about Tony, and they're talking about like the kid's got spunk. He's going to be a football player, this and that. And it's kind of Dickie who's like, yo, Johnny, like if that's what he wants to do, let him do what he wants to do. Like don't like force things on him and stuff like that. And they obviously don't want him to go into the world of crime, but you could tell Dickie's kind of like, he would be really good at that though. And this is where Tony's mom goes off on the show so much. And I thought, again, the actor here, she's going off. And I thought for sure, I was like, wait, this can't happen because she's alive in the show. But Johnny pulls out a Glock, aims it at her fucking head while he's driving, shoots it, but he purposely shoots through her like honeycomb hairstyle.
Yeah, her hair. Yeah, I couldn't believe this.
Oh my God. I laughed so hard. I was like, and she's in shock.
I kind of wanted to see this because like we didn't really get much of Johnny Soprano on this show, but from in this movie, but on the show, they always made it seem like he wasn't a good guy, no matter what the mom would say. The mom would be like, your dad, Johnny, she's a saint. Like she'd always like talk good about him, but everybody in the background knew that he wasn't a saint. So to see a scene like this, like, holy shit, he literally shot an Arn Anderson Glock right through her hair. Like, and she didn't even flinch. Like, and now you kind of find out why she was so messed up. Like she obviously was psychologically affected by everything that happened, and she would take it on Tony and the kids later on. They both suck. His parents definitely suck. No wonder he became a crime lord, because his parents just I thought this was a crazy scene though when he's just driving and does this. I laughed so hard. Jessipina, well, you know, she got busy real quick with her ex-dead lover's son. So I mean, what's saying take it the next step? And Jessipina is seen having sex with Harold. Yeah. I mean, throughout the movie, like they were kind of like eyeing each other. Like he would always kind of like go around, but he'd be like, oh, that's Dickie's girl. I wouldn't like do nothing to her. But yeah, this is rather quick. I mean, it wasn't that big of a fight. She had a fight with Dickie about the beauty parlor. And next thing you know, she kind of just jumped into bed with Harold. Yeah. So she's having a great time. He's having a great time. He knows he's literally fucking over Dickie and getting some at the same time. And she's just living her best life. Fucking over Dickie while getting Dickie. Yeah, that she's fucking over Dickie while getting the Dickie. She's like mentioning like, you know, like he wants me to stay at home and I just don't do that. She's kind of basically like, I'm a free spirit. I want to do whatever I want. So, well, that's happening with Jessipina and Harold, but Dickie does not know that. There's then like a drop that's happening. So really, Harold kind of knows some sort of ins and outs from Dickie. So he's kind of using his insider knowledge to kind of fuck him over with his own stuff. So there's like a shooting where there's a guy doing a drop of money, but they take it and they're like intercepting the Italian families. Their money, their drops and their work. Yep. So the crime family that we know, Multisantis, well, they pay a visit to Harold's boy in like a chop shop, in a car shop. And oh boy, they make him talk. This is definitely your classic Sopranos violent scene here, as the guy's not talking.
He doesn't want to say who put the hit out or anything. So they all hold him down on a like metal table in the car shop, the auto shop. They grab the car drill. You know what I'm talking about. That's that sound that it makes. And well, they put it in the guy's mouth and they drill. And wow, this is gory and just fantastic. How has this not been like used more so in movies? This pretty much sounds like they should do this a lot more. This is great.
Yeah,
this isn't a death. This isn't a death, but like best not in death.
No, the guy definitely died. No,
the guy died.
They shot him with the gun. They definitely killed him.
They shoot him afterwards, but like definitely the best. Like a fucking car drill thing in your mouth, and the teeth are flying out and everything.
Yeah, it's something. It's more like out of like Hostel or Saw. It's like one of those type of like gory deaths. But you have everybody here. You have Big Pussy. You got Paulie. You got Silvio. And this is the scene where Silvio stands up there and he's got his tee is all white with blood and his hair is just hanging out. He's like, hey, what are you gonna do?
And Paulie is here, and he's got this new jacket, and he's like, I just bought this jacket, and now it's covered in this dude's blood and teeth and shit. The guy talks, eventually mentions to Dickie like Harold is the one who did it. I don't know how he could talk if his teeth were fucking drilled out of his face. But yeah, this scene was awesome. They then shoot him after they get the knowledge, but Dickie's like a little concerned now that Harold is the one who set up the traps on this like drop and one of their boys getting shot and everything like that. So he's a little scared. But yeah, great scene with getting all this is where you saw the characters Silvio and Paulie. You kind of go, okay, yeah. We see Tony, he's having more issues at school. What's he trying to do? Like get the test results of stuff. He's selling them. He's getting into trouble. Yeah, he was stealing test results and he got caught for it. So the mom has to come in and talk, and there's this whole scene with like the teacher's like, yo, actually Tony is like this really smart kid. He's got this crazy IQ. He's a born leader, but instead he's like doing all this shady shit. Then there's mention of his mom reading him a book and like cuddling with him. I hate his character of his mom in the show so much. So I'm just like, yo, you got to sort out your own issues. Don't take it out on your kids. Yeah, basically she's not accepting the fact that her son could be smart. Like no matter how good he is, he's still like a failure to her. And then he brings up the one time where she like did something like very motherly and snuggled up and read a book, and that obviously affects Tony because like the only real memory he has of her that he could hold on to. And the mom is kind of like, you can tell she's going through some stuff mentally, and we'll get into later on what she could do to help it, and she obviously doesn't. But she is not really taking disinformation from the guidance counselor at all about her son. We get this epic shootout with Harold's gang and the crew we know, and it's like everyone's getting shot. Frankie at one point he gets shot here. There's Johnny it kind of reminds me of when Tony in the show is almost getting shot and like escapes in his car. Johnny's about to get it. There's like cars, people getting shot while they're driving, explosions. Dickie goes in the bar, loads up his shotty, and Harold comes out. It's like this almost very crime thriller shot here with Harold and Dickie in the bar. Yeah, it was really well done. Like they would kind of like zoom in on the little bullet holes and kind of like see the person on the other side. The guy that got killed, actually, he's played by Joey Diaz. If you remember, he was in the movie The Longest Yard. But his character of Buddha is actually Big Pussy's father. That's why he kind of resembles him a little bit. Right. That's who he is. But yeah, this whole scene was done very well when you have like Harold come in and you have the fire in the background and you just kind of zooming in and all that. But it was really well done, like shootout between him and Dickie. Yeah, I like the effects they use, the way they shot with the lights. He turns the lights on, he turns the lights off at one point in this bar. But everything, like I know movies, especially you watch like any of these like Marvel movies and stuff, like CGI and stuff has come such a long way. I am still a bigger fan of like practical effects and stuff like that. But they did a good job of using a little bit of both for some of like the action and the gory and explosion stuff. I thought it was good. We get so Dickie's fucking rocked now. His boys are getting shot up. Harold's all up in his shit. He doesn't even know what's coming yet because he does not know that Giuseppina's, doing the deed. But Tony's mom's now gonna try to be a little nicer to Tony. So he comes down for lunch one day and, hey, you made me hamburger.
Hey, really quick, this I can relate to this because growing up in an Italian household, it was literally like pasta every day. So when your mom would switch it up and have like a hamburger or hot dogs, it was like a holiday. Like, oh my God, we're getting a hamburger today. So just to see the excitement in Tony's face was hilarious here. He's like, oh mom, I thought you were gonna make a mortadella sandwich and you got a hamburger here. So I thought it was great.
What? No fucking ziti? What are some other good Italian dishes that I need to look at? I literally made pasta yesterday while making this, and it was like this big thick penne ziti noodles actually. So I wasn't far off. It was pretty good. But what do you?
Whenever they mention like gabagool, it's basically when you have like all these like trays of different meats. We have like, your little salami or provolone. It kind of like comes like, different rolled up or whatever, make a sandwich, things like that. But yeah, always like meat like that. Sausage and peppers is always a popular thing. Baked ziti, lasagna, anything with pasta and bread. Bread was always a big thing. Like you always got to have a loaf of bread on the side, no matter what you eat. Always got to have bread there.
You got to have the bread to soak up the good stuff.
Yes,
the sauce, exactly. The gravy. We've talked about the sauce and gravy. They don't say gravy in this.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't, because the right term is sauce. Okay. I remember when my son was born, my sister-in-law bought like a little a onesie, and it said like, in this house we say gravy. I took it.
Oh.
I was like, Megan, I appreciate the gift, but take this and you can have it back. My son will never wear this.
It's sauce. It's not gravy.
It's sauce. It's sauce.
Damn.
In my house.
Yeah, like there's certain types of like I'm pretty sure in Portuguese, whenever we talk about like gravy for your like different meats or whatever, never like tomato sauce, but like gravies and drippings or whatever. It's muy, so something like that. But like sauce is what I call pasta.
Sauce is what you put on pasta. Gravy is what you put on your turkey. That's how it is. That's the truth. There is no other way around it.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. At upNXT podcast, is it gravy to you? We're sorry if we offend you, but it's sauce.
You know who's going to be the judge of this is Tony D'Angelo. So whatever he uses, whether it be gravy or sauce,
we're gonna have to ask him. I'll tweet him later. Okay. I'll wait till his debut this week, and then I'll tweet him and be like, "Yo, is it sauce or gravy?" Say it in a promo, and he wins everything.
There we go.
Well, Tony's eating hamburger because his mom's the best. She's the great mom. But right away, they're pretty much fighting. She brings up how he's on the pot. He brings up some Rolling Stones lyrics, and she's like, "You're on pot," and he's like, "What? No, it's not me." He's like, "You and your sister, you're always smelling like pot." Janice comes home and she smells like a gypsy. And he's like, oh, hey, oh, I'm always the accused. Hey, oh, this is where I was like, dude, like, praise to you. You're playing the character your dad like made so famous, and you're doing a fantastic job in little parts like this. This kid was great in this. But yeah, the hamburger wasn't enough to stop the fights. You know, when someone's being real nice to you, that they either want something or something's just not going to go right. Like,
yeah, it's my mom literally did it to me earlier. She's like, "Hey, I got some lasagna for you tomorrow if you want to come over and have it." I'm like, "Oh, what do you need?" "Oh yeah, can you fix the TV while you're here?" "Oh, okay." So that's okay. Now I know why you want me to come over. Okay,
it's a pretty good trade though.
Oh yeah,
and I mean, like you going over there and like resetting her TV or resetting her internet router is pretty much, she sees you as like a technician, like an engineer. She thinks you just like did so much things when you probably just like turned it on and off.
Exactly. Growing up, I was always like the electrician in the family, the technician. Yeah. All I did was like plug the HDMI cable or something. But hey, if it's gonna give me a tray of lasagna, so be it. I'll take it.
What's the best thing your mom makes that like, is it lasagna that she knows she got you? Like if you go, Mom, make this. Lasagna is good.
She does like another type of pasta where she uses like the little rings. I don't know what they call them, but it's like little like, oh, it's so good. So good. I'm getting thinking about it.
Yeah. Hey.
Tiramisu is another one. You ever heard tiramisu?
Yes. Of course. Yeah.
She makes tiramisu from scratch. Oh,
isn't that shit like these cookies, these crackers with like coffee?
It's the what do you call it? Like the vanilla fingers, and you put like the coffee and you put like the mascarpone cream inside of it. Yeah, it's amazing.
I've had some from like Italian friends who like, oh, my mom made this, or like they got the recipe and like, yeah, it's good. Or then you go to a real fancy Italian spot, like, yeah, it can be really nice. Coffee cake. We see a funeral because we mentioned, is it Pussy's dad who got shot up, and everyone's kind of sad there. We see an origin story of Junior as he slips in the rain and lands on his back, thus creating the fact that he's always got a bad back and he's always a right cunt.
Yeah, and he says his famous line, "Your sister's cunt." Oh my God, there's Junior. There's a Junior.
Yeah. So Junior's hates Dickie now because he blames him, and his wife's like, "Yo, what the like." You're the because he can't have
he's
sex.
Laughing at him. Yeah, he's laughing at him when he fell while everybody else was helping him up. He doesn't like to be picked on, which is the same thing he did in the show. He never liked when Tony would like laugh at him or make fun of him. Yes, yeah. So this is obviously gonna come to bite Dickie later on, but this is like we find out why certain things might upset Junior, and yeah, like you said, he can't even have sex anymore now.
Yeah, so he's upset and he's mad because he hurt his back, but. As this is happening, Harold's crew, all his boys, they're going to plan to take over, and his plan might come into work. I mean, he's chopping off these guys one at a bit, and he's starting his gang here in Newark, and he's not going to let it stop now. We see Dickie and Jessipina. They're having just a great some time together. They finally have some time alone. They're at like a hotel somewhere. They're banging in a hotel bathroom. They're just living their best life, really. And they're walking now on a beach. And he's like, hey, Jessipina, you know that beauty parlor you wanted? I got it for you. I saw it. I bought it. We're going to be co-owners and you can run it. You can do everything. You want to work? You can do it. I got it for you. She's like, cool, thanks. Hey, by the way, I am so lonely, and I've been lonely, and well, someone else came along while I was waiting for you, and he's like, excuse me, this is now they're on a beach somewhere, alone, and she's like, yeah, someone else came along. It meant nothing. I'm sorry. Who was it? No, you're gonna hurt him. No, I won't hurt him. The only thing I'll be hurting is if you don't tell me. So who was it? So she tells Dickie, I've been sleeping with your arch fucking enemy, Harold. Well, he goes a little insane.
Yeah.
Chases her into the water and drowns her. Yeah.
Yeah. Overreacted a little bit, but why did
I don't know. I mean, look, why did she just
I mean, why did she open her mouth like right after like literally like they have a montage of them like running on the beach and feeding each other pasta and the world is great, and like you said, she just out of nowhere had to reveal this.
This reminded me of Chris Isaac Wicked Game music video.
What did she think was gonna happen? Like, she was gonna be like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Look, honey, look, you do your own thing. You weren't married. You were the side piece. Like, he's married. He's got kids and babies and stuff. Like, live your life. Like, definitely not against it. But what were you expecting when you tell him? Like, she didn't know that maybe Harold was up and up, like they're against each other. She just knows him from hanging around him, working for Dickie. Right. But still, it's like, you know, this guy's in the mob. You know, this guy does crazy things and murders people, and you're just going to tell him this while you're both alone somewhere. No witnesses, nothing. Sorry. Big mistake. Also, he just told you he got you the beauty parlor. So like maybe wait it out a little bit.
Yeah, wait a little bit. Wait till you start the business, and then down the line, But yeah,
it's like
he went.
Imagine it's like your birthday, and like someone's like, here you go. Here's a PS5. By the way, I've been banging your best friend. Yeah. Like, what? No, that's not going to make anything. That's going to make things way worse. Sorry.
And just to know like his type of mentality and just like the way like an old school, I can say because I'm Italian, an old school Guinea, basically like their mentality, to hear that like she not only slept with somebody, but it's somebody who's black, I know would set him off even more because that's just like type of mentality that they have, unfortunately.
Right. And he's yelling this at her. Yeah. This is set in his late 60s. Yeah. So of course he's like,
the racial tension is just going to drive him even more insane. And he just did it. And it was crazy. Before I forget, when Harold was having the meeting with the other mafioso guy, that guy was actually Frank Lucas, who's the character that Denzel Washington plays in American Gangster. So that was a cool little connection there that they had in there, which is pretty interesting because he's a real character opposed to everybody else here who's made up in a way. But yeah, Jessipina, unfortunately, she's dead. And that's another reason why I want to watch the show, because I feel like I heard this story before about Jessipina drowning or something happened to her, but it was never implied that Dickie killed her. So I wonder if this is like solving that answer of like what happened to this poor girl that he knew.
Yeah, I mean, he drowns her. Jeez. just drowns her. Yep. Then he goes and talks to Sal again, and Sal's pretty much like, yeah, I know you murdered your dad. You've got bad luck, huh? Yeah. So Sal's like, yo, your mom and not your mom, your dad and your side chick both died recently, and you're just weird, strange times for you. He knows. He's like pretty much like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, he makes up a story about like Giuseppina having like weak lungs, or she had a disease from Italy and her lungs couldn't handle it. Yeah, all this crap. And Sally's not buying it. He's like, yep, yeah, no.
Well, meanwhile, all this crime and stuff is happening, and is it Sal who tells Dickie like, hey, leave Tony alone?
He does. Yeah, he's like, he's like, some words of advice, stay away from that kid. Which obviously he doesn't.
He says, like, leave him alone. This kid has got a bright future, and you're going to lead him down a path you got into, and look where that leads. You're killing your fucking girlfriends and your dad. Like, stop. Don't get this kid invested. So Dickie starts ignoring young Tony, who we see Tony's trying to call him up, help him get some booze, some Rolling Rock.
We see a young Carmela. Carmela behind him.
Yeah. We see a young Carmela, some friends Tony's trying to get. I'm surprised Tony asked for Rolling Rock and not Blue Moon, considering the lyrics of isn't that the lyrics in the show?
Well, Blue Moon wasn't around.
Wasn't around yet. It wasn't around.
That's why.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. But Dickie is like no selling him. He's not answering his calls. He's hanging up. So Carmela and is like, oh hey, I like how she did look like him. Look like her. Sorry. Yeah. As well. We see that every time Tony keeps trying to go to Dickie, he's ignoring him. He turns the lights off. He's telling people he's not there. So Tony's getting a little pissed off, but not going away. And then finally, Dickie is like, can't live like this. He's like going to go up against Sal's wishes, where he's like, you know what? I'm going to meet Tony and have a discussion with him. And we never will know what that discussion is, because the next morning when Tony goes to meet him, he's waiting for him, having his milkshake, his chocolate milk. Uncle Dickie doesn't show up, because we see Dickie coming home that night before. And as he's getting some things in his trunk, someone comes up from behind and pew, pew, back of the head. He's done. He's dead. He's clipped, if you will. Dickie Moltisanti, the father of Christopher, leaving him fatherless, dies. And then we see this hitman on a payphone somewhere. We see Junior on a payphone somewhere, and he's like, the deed is done, the hit is made, meaning that June is the reason that Dickie Moltisanti was clipped. As the movie kind of fades to black with Tony Soprano kind of wondering what's going to happen with Dickie and the Many Saints of Newark. But man, that Junior sucks.
Of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Like, I should have known. Like, this guy got Dickie killed. I mean, there's more reasons behind him just laughing at him. He obviously didn't like him from the get-go. Junior wanted to be head of the family. He didn't want Dickie to be head of the family. And this carries on to the show, obviously, with Tony Soprano. But this was one of the mysteries of Sopranos. We never really knew who killed Dickie. There was like an episode where Tony got he did kill the person who shot Dickie. So maybe that was a person who actually pulled the trigger. He did kill like a former detective or something, but we never knew the reason why. And now we know it's because Junior put the hit out, which is crazy to think that, it's because of Junior that all this happened. And Junior,
and throughout,
and Junior's like the main cause why like Tony became this. Like you said, we never found out what Dickie was gonna say to him. Was he actually gonna tell him to stay away from the family? Who knows? But because of this death, now Tony was forced into the family.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't end the movie with "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey. But there was some good songs.
No, we ended with the theme song. It's the Sopranos.
Right. Yeah. It starts to kick in. Yep. Yeah. It's almost like the score is getting better and better.
That part is like, okay, shit is on. And then the movie ended. I'm like, no, like literally this is what I wanted to see, was like his rise. So I'm really hoping that the movie didn't do well in the box office. Unfortunately, it only did $5 million because everybody's watching it on HBO. Everybody went to go see the Venom instead. But I'm hoping some way that they do either like in a mini series, make it like a 10 episode series, just continue with Michael Gandolfini growing up and becoming Tony Soprano that we know. There's so much more they can tell.
Yeah. It leaves you now going, okay, well, I want to see what happens to Tony, because he never got to have that final conversation with Dickie. Was Dickie going to tell him the truth? Was Dickie going to invite him in, start young, or was Dickie going to say, I can't talk to you, like you need to go away? So really, this Junior inadvertently kickstarts this like rise of the rise of Tony, but it definitely sends you off like wondering, okay, where can we go with this? A mini series totally based on Tony Soprano with Michael Gandolfini playing would be probably the best idea. But you're right. A lot of people either A, watch this at home or didn't watch it in theaters. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that can affect maybe where it goes. But I think you put the Sopranos name on anything and the fans will still go behind it. What are your like overall thoughts on the movie? What are some things that you liked and some things that you didn't? Because I can see there's arguments for both.
Yeah, I mean, the ending sequence where we actually saw, like, the reason why Dickie was actually going to give Tony Soprano a chance was because of Silvio. Silvio's the one that kind of pushed it. He's like, hey, listen, I see something good in this kid, Tony Soprano. I think you should really give him a chance. So by him doing that, it kind of makes you understand the Silvio character more from the show, that he was really like Tony's right-hand man because he always believed in Tony no matter what. So I liked like his portrayal. Like I said in the beginning, like the parody, like not that it was a parody, but it felt like a lot of the stuff was supposed to be a parody from like Silvio and so I didn't like those characters as much as like a brand new character like a Dickie Moltisanti or Johnny Soprano. I wish you would have saw a little bit more of Johnny, his dad, but it wasn't really about him. It was this is the Moltisanti story. So this is where it comes down to where it's like very hard to promote this movie because obviously you want people to come in that are Sopranos fans, but you don't want to say it's a Tony Soprano movie. So all like the marketing that I saw would say things like who made Tony Soprano or, you know, things like that, because they're trying to tell you this is the people behind Tony Soprano. It's a prequel movie. So it never even had the Sopranos name on it. It was always the Many Saints of Newark. And then closer to release day, they kind of put in the bottom like a Sopranos story or something along those lines to make sure people like know what it is. So it's like, it's very hard because you don't want to tell people this is a Tony Soprano movie because it's not. It's a Chris Moltisanti movie or Dickie Moltisanti movie. But by just saying that alone, it might not get people to come in to watch it. So maybe that's what happened. The reviews haven't been bad. They've been like in the 70s range. So it's not like a terrible movie from review standpoint, but it's probably not what people were hoping they would get from a Sopranos movie.
Yeah, which is very fair. Again, I do like these kinds of movies regardless. So really, this movie could have been a movie without some of the tie-ins. Like the script, maybe the argument is the script is a little paint by numbers, mob boss kind of movie, whereas the show kind of was, but also at the same time was like reaching every little aspect of stories you didn't even think would be covered on a show like that. And they did that every season. You'd be like, oh, okay, but in a good way. So this was kind of more of your step-by-step. If you replaced all the Easter eggs and all these characters that we kind of already toyed with, it could just be a separate like movie and entity of its own. But I see where people are like, it's not really The Sopranos. It's because none of the actors are in it. It really, they tried to go with the same style. They tried to go with the same humor elements, like the shooting her in her hair, not killing her, but like almost killing her is very something they would probably do in the show. Some of the gory deaths is something that they would do in the show. A lot of the comedy stuff, like one-liners, they tried to obviously, like you said, almost parody the old characters, but there were certain like lines and stuff that definitely stick with you. As when you watch The Sopranos was always about like this mob boss guy going through therapy and like his whole complicated life. But it's like, there was always like life lessons in between episodes.
Well, I think that's where like the Dr. Melfi character you're talking about, I think that's where Sally kind of took the reins of that. He was kind of mediator that was kind of giving Dickie some good advice. So I feel like we still had little elements of that between that and the guidance counselor. But I can see what you mean. But also like this movie, like the fact that it took place in the 60s and 70s, it didn't really feel like Sopranos. It felt more like Goodfellas in a way because of the time difference. What they could have done if they really like thought more of this out, maybe even make it into like a mini series, was do the Godfather 2 route where it's a prequel plus it's happening at the same time. They kind of could go back and forth. They could have did that. They could have showed some of the stuff in the past while jumping back and forth to like not present day Tony Soprano, but maybe like Tony Soprano in the 80s, like as a little bit older, going through the crime family.
Yeah. It was different that it was set in like the different times, whereas The Sopranos is so modern. Like they try to use things that were like topical, which this did for things that were in the 60s. So I definitely I didn't hate this movie by any means. In fact, a few people were like, oh, like this movie was a bit of a letdown. So I kind of was going in expecting something a bit worse. it didn't like necessarily blow me away, because again, it was kind of like, okay, I can kind of figure, like I knew something was going on with Junior. I was like, I hate you. I already know. And I hate the mom. I went in hating them and I still leave hating them, but they definitely like fill you in on certain things. It's kind of like Star Wars. Like if you watch the OG Star Wars movies and then maybe watch those really weird prequels, it might like make sense of certain things, but then also make you go, wait, well, what about that? And like, whatever. But overall, like, I think this was meant to just be like a fan service. Like, hey, look, we know you guys love this show and people keep rewatching it. Like, why not try to do something, continue on with the story? So I genuinely thought they did a good job. I didn't walk away watching this movie being like, oh, that sucked. It kind of flew by. It kind of flew by, actually. And it was like about 2 hours. So
it was 2 hours. Yeah. You have to think about it. It's very hard to take a show that had 6 seasons, over 100 episodes, so much meat to that show. And it's one of the best shows of all time on top of that. So to take that and try to like condense it to a 2-hour format without any of the characters, because you had to do a prequel, right? There's no way you could have did a sequel because James Gandolfini passed away, and B, most of the characters on the show were killed off. So like, what else can you do but a prequel? But like I said, they had to tell the story first. You had to tell the Multisanti story first. Plus, it was one of the characters that wasn't really expanded on. You heard about the legend of Dickie, but you never actually found out about it. So now the right thing to do is to carry off of this. Now, it just sucks because I don't think it's going to financially do good enough. I know that like David Chase and like Terrence Winter, who's one of the writers, discussed like possibly doing a prequel. A sequel to this with Tony Soprano in his 20s. They would say they would do it on a heartbeat, they said. So hopefully they have enough, support to do it. That's what I'm hoping for. I feel like there's so much more you can tell now. Now would be the perfect time to do it.
Yeah. I mean, like you could always, doing the prequel makes sense. I would want to watch his son play that. I think just as a fan now would be like, oh, you did a great job in this movie. And people will overlook some of the other stuff. Maybe he wasn't in it enough. And that's, they were planning on expanding this universe, and hopefully they still do. Even I think they should make it a show if box office show. Yeah.
At least 10 episodes, like a miniseries. One thing that I did hear about when they were shooting it, they had to take numerous takes with his son, Michael Gandolfini, because he had just watched the show. So a lot of the scenes that he was doing, he was acting too much like his dad. And the director had to tell him, listen, you can't act like that because you're not that character yet. Like, I understand you want to be your dad, but you haven't really become that character. So they had him do multiple takes where he's more like a toned down Tony, a more aggressive Tony. They obviously use the scenes that fit, because he was trying too hard at some points, I heard, to be like Tony Soprano. Was like, that doesn't make sense yet. Like, you haven't even killed somebody yet. You can't be all this over the top angry character. So I think they used the perfect mix of him as his dad.
I also like the fact throughout the entire Sopranos show, I resonate with Tony in certain aspects, because there's so many episodes or scenes where he's listening to music. He puts on his own records, or he's watching his own movies because he's like a big fan of art. In some weird way, this mob boss who has some random time to himself will consume music or movies. And they definitely showcase that in this, like him mentioning the Rolling Stones, or him in his room listening to records, or him watching, was it like old movies and stuff like that. Like it ties into the fact that like he's all like, he is kind of a smart guy, like, and it plays in with that. I thought there is a lot of undertones, and there's probably so many things, even I've only watched the show once through, that have like completely gone over my head. But
like another thing that pops up is obviously in the first episode of the show, he had the connection with the ducks, the white ducks. They signified like rebirthing him. And the scene where he actually catches Dickie murdering his dad, he saw a blackbird. And then somebody later on said the blackbird represents death or bad things going on. So you're kind of like you're back and forth between the two different type of birds. And another thing that stood out for me.
That's
was
true.
The whole aspect. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that, but that is totally true. He had the birds there. Any other thing? Because I did like the music in this. I know throughout the show there were certain songs. I mentioned that episode where they're back in the old country. There's some music that I still listen to. There's an Italian band. I'm blanking on them now, but it was a banger when Christopher's like getting lit. But the music throughout the show is amazing. But I thought the selection through here, any mob movie, you play some old Rolling Stones or 60s music and you're pretty much set. But I thought the people behind this did a really good job of doing a bit of a fan service to us, because I hope people who were fans like, it's not the Sopranos I wanted. It's like, they were making it for you still. Like, I still thought they delivered. But yeah.
Yeah, a couple of like little Easter eggs that stood out to me. Like they obviously went back to a lot of the spots, like the sausage factory that they have in the series. They use that as like their front. The Bada Bing Club wasn't around yet.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, no family friends.
One of the guys they mentioned, I think it was in the beginning of the movie, like Harold has mentioned that like I think he was chasing somebody who like didn't give him the money, and the guy's name was Leon Overall, which is interesting because in The Sopranos they have a flashback of Tony Soprano's first murder, and it was a guy named Willie Overall. So I wonder if there's any like sort of connection between the two, having the same last name. So things like that stood out to me. But just seeing like a lot of like the similar places that they went through in the show and kind of like went back to, it was definitely something that kind of brought the nostalgia out of the movie for me.
Yeah, it makes you want to watch the show back again.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to have to go and watch it.
Yeah, definitely the Christopher Pine Barrens episode, or whatever that one's called. That one's great. Siino, where can people hear you on some other shows? Because you've been doing a lot here on this feed.
Yeah, by the time you hear this should be episode 7 of Turning Heels. It's the second to last episode before the season finale or series finale. We're not sure yet if the show's even going to get renewed for a second season for Heels. So check me out, me and B Detroit, Shot in the Dark every Wednesday. I got my reports on PulseWrestling.com talking about Impact Wrestling and MLW Weekly, as well as any weekend shows that they might do. Like I know Impact has a Knockouts pay-per-view that's coming up this weekend. So check me out on that. And who knows, I might pop up here or there on your favorite Up Next or Post Wrestling podcast.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing so much. I mean, Shot in the Dark on this feed is 15 minutes, but you cover all this wrestling that other people might not watch. So if you want to know what's going on, definitely listen to it. Some say you can make a cup of tea, make a coffee, all in under 15 minutes. You could be caught up on all the wrestling you don't watch. And Turning Heels, I'm a little behind because I'm behind on Heels. But every time I watched, I would listen back, and you guys have been killing it. Shout out you and B Detroit. And I know that you guys, maybe you like listening to us review movies and other things like non-wrestling. And you can do more of that on our Patreon, patreon.com/upnext. For only $5 a month, North American tier gets you over 350 past podcasts, the retro NXT reviews, best match ever, reviews from the 6. We got some new ones coming out this month, including some crazy Halloween movies like Exorcist, or what did we doing? We're doing, I think, Child's Play at some point, something like that. Yeah, we're going to be doing Child's Play as well.
Twilight Zone, right?
Twilight Zone. We're going to be doing some Halloween Havoc 96 from WCW, all sorts of stuff. And we're also going to be doing Spectre 007 because No Time to Die is coming out this week. So that's what we'll be doing. All these and more, only $5 for North American tier. And I'm sure we'll be talking with you, Siino, for one of these horror movie. I think we're going to have you on for, what is it? Child's Play? Chucky?
Yeah, whenever you have a movie of a small, short killer running around, I feel like I always get the phone call. Like, hey, Leprechaun? Child's Play. Like, yeah, sure. I'll come and talk about little short murderers.
Yeah. And of course, every Tuesday night, Wednesday night, we do Up Next and we do BD Elite. Me and Davey will be chatting, and join us in the Twitch rooms as well, because that's always fun. The chat is always fire. And of course, the socials at Up Next Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, for everything, shows, updates, everything, all the likes, all the RTs, they are appreciated. We hope you liked me and Siino chatting all about the Sopranos and the Many Saints of Newark. And yeah, we'll be back in your ears very, very soon. But thank you, John, for hanging around. Hey, the gabagool. Take care, everybody. I myself, Braden Herrington. You can find me Twitter, Instagram. I'm at the Brady. What about you? What's your thing?
Cnoevil, CNOEVIL on all social media platforms, if they are up and running at this point. We're not sure yet. Oh yeah, yes. Social media was in a craze today. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, they were all taken down. So where am I supposed to get my views on life? Where am I supposed to get my medical advice and all my information that is totally right? What am I going to do? Twitter, yeah. IWC on Twitter, though, is a scary place, too. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And as Tony Soprano once said, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Your sister's cunt. Hey,